What up, three times? You already know who it is. It's the one and only Chef, aka Wings912 on IG. That's WINGZZ912 on Instagram. If you're looking at me, you're talking to culture today, and I'm talking about none other than the sneaker culture. But before we even get into that, please go ahead and hit that subscription button with the notification bell so you can stay tuned and tapped into the content. And while you're at it, hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment if you feel compelled to. And I think you're going to have something to say about this one. Shout out to the Breakfast Club. As always, the one and only big homies. We got some things ahead of us, you know what I'm saying? Before I even get into today's episode, let's start off with the shoe that is releasing on Saturday, which is probably tomorrow, Ferrari 14. When I say this shoe is very limited, it is very limited. Probably the most limited GR that we have to date. And yeah, my city, the city of Savannah, has less than 300 pairs, but we got a W, so be tuned and tapped in because you're going to be able to get that review on Saturday right here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, expect drama because these are super limited in stores, you know what I mean? All right, but today I wanted to talk about something that I've seen, that we've all seen, and we've all been paying attention to. And this is a big topic in sneaker culture, you know what I'm saying? As far as sneakerheads go, I'm talking about none other than overrated kicks versus the oversaturated kicks, you know what I'm saying? Now, let me preface this entire episode and conversation with sneakers have purpose, you know, whether they are running shoes, walking, you know what I mean, basketball, football, whatever, however, cross training, etc., etc. You know what I mean? Shoes have purpose. I'm not talking about just the regular old consumer that cops a pair when needed or cops a pair when a pair gets bad. I'm talking for the people that are like me, that are collectors, that, you know, you got shoes, you know what I mean? You collect them, you stack them, you know what I mean? You got favorites, you know what I'm saying? You know, all, you know what I mean? I'm talking strictly to those people, you know what I mean? This conversation is strictly for you because this is something that's been going on with these companies, and I really want to speak about one particular company, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about Nike, you know what I'm saying? This topic is crazy. Overrated kicks versus oversaturation, you know what I mean? And I want to break it down, you know what I'm saying? And then not only that, but I want to talk about innovation and how to overcome that, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people feel that while Nike is one of the #1 brands in the world when it comes to sneakers, they got some competition, and they've been having competition quietly for the last couple years. All right, so boom. Let's start with overrated kicks, you know what I'm saying? Now, overrated kicks usually come from the category of hype shoes or the shoes that hype beasts, you know, promote heavy. And if you don't know what hype shoe or hype beast is, this is the shoe that gets the insane social media rollout where all the accounts are taking pictures and people are trying to be the first one to leak what a shoe looks like, you know what I'm saying? It's usually like a collab that's crazy, you know, or sometimes it could just be a shoe that is deemed rare or super hype just by a trend, you know what I mean, a fashion trend. And we've seen so many different versions of this, you know what I'm saying? But this shoe can make things very tough, you know what I mean, when you're trying to get a pair as a sneakerhead and a collector. And that term of hype and hype beast usually kills a lot of people, you know what I mean, once the shoe releases. You have that thing about crazy resale that can make a lot of people profit some money and things of that nature. I get it. But once you get the shoe in hand, the shoe usually comes, you know what I mean, it's very rare that you have a shoe that actually sticks to that mold, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes the materials is just trash, you know what I mean? Mid materials on the shoe once you get it in hand. You start looking at the design and it's just not hitting, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you feel like you got a shoe that was just unnecessary or, and you know what I mean, just not worth it, you know what I mean? Or even just the hype was so built up about it, you know what I'm saying? It drives people crazy, you know what I'm saying? And there are shoes that I can give this example about, you know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, the Jumpman Jack. The Jumpman Jack, while it's a Jordan brand shoe, it gets a lot of hype because it's a Jordan brand shoe, and not only that, but it's a Travis Scott collab. But the Jumpman Jack really ain't just cracking off like that, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's weird, you know what I'm saying? Like a Jumpman Jack being a new silhouette, and just because it has Travis Scott's name attached to it, it gets all the hype in the world, and you know. But at the end of the day, when you start looking at the design and some of the colorways that come out, they just don't hit, you know what I mean? And they have the crazy resale, you know what I mean, before release, but then once it releases, you just see that resale tank, you know what I mean, drop down more and more and more. Shoes that I feel aren't overrated, that are necessary, are like, you know what I mean, classics to the game, you know what I mean, that a lot of people talk about, but really deserve the hype, are retros or classics, you know what I'm saying? For instance, like a Bread 4, it has a story, it has history, you know what I'm saying? This shoe shouldn't be considered overrated, you know what I'm saying? This is one of those ones, you know what I mean? You can see Jordan at the free throw line in Cleveland hitting the jumper over Craig Elo at the foul line. Story, cemented the legacy, you know what I'm saying? History. Jordan went on to win 6 chips after that and become the greatest of all time, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this shoe has purpose, you know what I mean? But something like a Jumpman Jack, it's not necessary, you know what I'm saying? Travis Scott is an artist. Granted, he makes music, you know, so on and so forth, you know what I mean? But that's kind of what Overrated is, you know what I'm saying? The hype beast, the one that, you know what I mean, just has that crazy resale. Now let's talk oversaturation. You know what oversaturation is, you know what I'm saying? When you get that one particular silhouette that the company just drops over and 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 over. You know what I mean? Just repeatedly in multiple colorways for no reason, you know what I mean? And granted, you know, they're trying to take advantage of a trend that they see, and, you know, they're trying to cash in because, you know, that's how capitalism works, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it really doesn't help, you know what I'm saying? And in the case of Nike, which we are talking about today, they are so notorious for this, you know what I'm saying? And it really kind of popped off COVID era. I feel like the Jordan 1 was a beautiful silhouette, you know what I'm saying? And they dropped it in different colorways, and it gave space between time for people to appreciate and enjoy the colorways. But when COVID hit and, you know, resale started going crazy, Nike started going hard with the Jordan 1, and, you know, people were just buying Jordan 1s. If you couldn't get that retro high OGs because of TikTok and, you know what I mean, social media trends, people were willing to accept the mids. But it's gotten way out of hand, and it just, you know, it's just entirely too much, because now Jordan 1s sit, you know what I'm saying? The Jordan 1 UNC Reimagined was a great shoe. But people let that sit because they're just tired of Jordan 1s. You have 1,000,001 Jordan 1s already on the wall in the same colorway or close to the same colorway or in multiple colorways. And, you know, everybody sees them on everybody's feet. So it's just like, you know, they don't want to wear what everybody else is necessarily wearing, especially when it comes to Jordan 1s. And that's one example of oversaturation. Another example is the Dunk. Like, Jesus, the Dunk got smoked. The Dunk got so smoked, and I'm blaming pandas, you know what I'm saying? Definitely blaming pandas, because the panda craze had the world hemmed up by the wallets. And I mean, that shoe was at one point $300 to $400, and now you could get that at $45. You could get that shoe at $45, you know what I'm saying? Granted, the materials wasn't crazy, they weren't amazing, you know what I'm saying? But it was just the fad of everybody had them on, you know what I'm saying? Or social media and TikTok was like, oh, you gotta have this shoe. And people went bananas. I've never owned a pair of pandas, you know what I mean, in the repertoire, but, you know what I mean, I can't lie, I just didn't want to be like everybody else. I don't like wearing what everybody else wears, you know what I'm saying? Especially when everybody's wearing it at the same time. No, I like to wear the rare shoes, you know what I mean? That's just personally me, you know what I'm saying? So basically, Overrated is a shoe that just gets hyped up without anybody, you know what I mean, really seeing it on the consumer side of things, you know what I mean? As far as when I say consumer side of things, I feel like the releases in stores, the people in the streets, you know what I mean? The real consumer base that these companies are going after, to hype a shoe up and have this whole social media run, and the seeding and the influencers sitting up there just giving so much life to this shoe, whether it's, you know, social media, YouTube, etc., however, you know what I mean, but putting so much on the shoe before it releases just to be disappointed, yeah, that's that overrated, you know what I'm saying? You know, shoes that don't have a story, like the Bread 4 or the Jordan 3 where he jumped from the foul line, like those are overrated. I'm sorry, hype shoes, unnecessary, you know what I mean? But then you have the oversaturation, you know what I mean, where it's just companies trying to take advantage and, okay, let's just flood the market, dump a million colorways out there, let's see what it does, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's see how it goes, you know? Nike has done both, and, you know, like I said, the Panda, talking directly to you. That can kind of hurt a company, you know what I'm saying? Especially right now, you know what I mean? Because if you look at everything, Nike has fell off, you know what I mean? It kind of getting knocked off their top position as king of the hill when it comes to sneakers, you know? New Balance has been going crazy. Saucony has been going crazy, you know, Asics. All of these shoes have had a chance to come up and, you know what I mean, give Nike a little run for their money because of how Nike is releasing these shoes and dropping multiple shoes in multiple colorway, like multiple shoes in the same colorway, and it kind of hurts. And the reason, my big example is, you had the UNC 1, UNC Blue Reimagined, you had the Carmelo 12s, then you had the Forget Me Not 4s, and all of those shoes are kind of white and baby blue, and those shoes released all within a month of each other, which was totally insane. It hurt a good shoe in the classic Carmelo. It also hurt the Forget Me Nots, which was a good Mother's Day shoe. I feel like they should break up, you know what I mean, those release dates. And for everybody to go crazy about the lost and found Jordan 1s, but then the UNC ones reimagined, they don't pick those up, doesn't make any sense to me, because if you look at the boxes with the mismatched lids, like, they could have did more for the UNC 1 in order to get that shoe the proper love that it deserved, because of course it's a Jordan 1, and the one shoe that started it all with the whole band theme that y'all had running in February. I don't know how y'all didn't tie any of this in to sit up here and give people the real stories that the sneaker culture needs, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, it just starts looking like a money grab, and it's kind of crazy, you know what I mean? But there is a way for Nike to kind of get out of it, in my opinion. Now, mind you, I'm not a business expert, but I really feel that they have a way out. And to be honest, I think it's innovation. You got to change the game just a little bit. All right, now innovation. My idea of innovation is, while you have these retros to give people a blast of the past, you know, in order to usher them into the current state of sneaker culture, I really think you need to focus on better designs that can still have a nostalgic feel, but also impact fashion in a positive way. Two shoes that I have that Nike have released that kind of go hand in hand with this conversation. The first shoe, as far as I want to talk about, which was a bad execution of innovation and attempt, was the DN8. The Nike Air Max DN8 is a horrible looking shoe. I don't like the whole individual bubble look. And then not only that, but the rollout has just been amongst influencers and people just saying, hey, look at this shoe. It's fly. I'm fly. You have this, you know what I mean? You should wear this shoe, you know what I'm saying? Went strictly fashion with it. It doesn't seem like it really has a functional purpose. I haven't seen them try to advertise or show this shoe in effect of running or in any type of running space, you know what I'm saying? They're just sitting up here saying, this is a shoe you need, this is a shoe you should have. Look at these influencers with this shoe, and they're just, oh, thank you for the shoe, da 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 da, you know what I'm saying? And trying to hype up a shoe, but it's not working, you know what I'm saying? And it hasn't worked, and they released the shoe in a million colorways, and this is the one shoe that I've seen sit, you know what I mean, for a while. Now, granted, innovation that has worked, and I really feel like should get a little bit more attention, Nike Pegasus Premium. Design, the look of this shoe is amazing. It is incredible. It's very beautiful. But Nike Pegasus also has a bit of nostalgia with it, because everybody remembers the Air Pegasus from back in the day. If you don't, please do your research, because that was a very fly shoe, very comfortable, you know what I'm saying? and it did good things for Nike running, you know what I mean? But more importantly, with the innovation and the look to it, this shoe is gorgeous. It is amazing, you know what I'm saying? Now, granted, like I said, Nike Pegasus is a running shoe, and I already told you, I understand shoes have, you know, certain purposes and everything, but Nike Pegasus Premium is a shoe I would wear, like, you know what I mean, just on some kick it every day, you know what I mean, lounge around, you know what I mean, I'm out chilling with the crew, you know what I'm saying. It's a fly shoe, very beautiful design, and not only that, but it's very hard to keep on the shelves. This shoe has been selling out everywhere that I've looked since I've seen this shoe, you know what I'm saying? So please understand there's ways around it, but I think Nike has to put the effort into the design. I feel like Nike has to go back to the basics, you know what I'm saying? Not just depend on social media to kind of learn or get a feel of what people want, because at the end of the day, I feel like social media gets very repetitive, you know, like a lot of people will see, oh, this person's talking about this, so and it's having this traction, let's talk about this, or oh, I think that's interesting, you know what I mean, because this person also said it, you know what I mean. It's a lot of follow the leader on social media. Yes, shoes can be overrated, but not every shoe is overrated. And yes, there's major oversaturation in the market, you know what I mean, but you don't have to buy everything just because you're a sneakerhead. I really feel like you could create your collection and hold it down the way you want to. I'm a Kobe fan, I'm a Jordan fan, so I know I wear all 1 through 13s, and I've dumbed it down to just wearing the OGs, you know what I'm saying? I've collected the OGs, I have other couple colorways that I was a fan of with collabs, so on and so forth, but I don't buy every pair that releases, you know what I'm saying? Same way with Kobe's, so on and so forth, you know what I mean? You can wear what you like, man. That's basically the true key element of a sneakerhead. You rock what you want to rock, you know what I mean? Granted, social media burns us out with the same pics and the same information all day, every day, but you know what I mean? It's, you know, free advertisement, you know what I mean? But you don't have to pay attention to that. You don't have to lock into that. Just lock into what you feel in your heart, what you rock, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, sneakerheads create the culture, not social media, not the hype beast, you know what I mean? Hype fades, but style stays, man. So stick to your guns, stay 10 toes in what you believe and what you feel, and cop what you want to rock, man. So maybe Nike's listening, maybe Nike ain't, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? I just wanted to get that off my chest because I've been looking at all these retros and I've been hearing people about, oh, they're overrated, oh, you know what I'm saying? And they're not really overrated. You just got to understand why, you know what I mean? Do the research, you know what I mean? Some of these shoes are classics that need to be had, especially, like I said, if you're a sneakerhead. But at the end of the day, rock what you want to rock, you know what I mean? Don't listen to me. I'm just the person that expressing my opinion and putting it out there for the world to see, you know what I'm saying? But appreciate y'all tapping in. Appreciate y'all showing love. Please do not forget, if you haven't already, hit that subscription button with the notification bell, because we do have the Ferrari 14s coming in for a review. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss this because it's a rare shoe for now. You know what I'm saying? Please, at the end of the day, keep your family and friends and your loved ones close. You know what I mean? Spread love and spread that good energy. You know what I mean? Way better to be positive and just keep it amongst your circle, because things is getting crazy right now. You know what I mean? So have that love, you know what I mean, available for family and friends, and I'm sure it'll come back to you. As always, stay hydrated. Summertime is hot out here. Stay low, stay hustling. But more importantly, stay out the way. Mind the business that pays you. Just saying. Advice that works for me, it might work for you. And by any means, keep them sneakers clean, man. You already know the motto. Before you go pay resale, come here and get them details. And if we catch you lacking, understand we snatching. It's not a game, we not playing.